I trust that God will never leave me nor forsake me. I trust that He will help me. He will empower me. So if He says go jump off this cliff, okay, I'm gonna go jump off.
Got a parachute somewhere.
Okay, listen. Or He got something on the ground and I ain't feel it. Okay,
trampoline or something down there.
What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Kingdom Prototype, the blueprint for abundant living. I'm your girl Lex.
I'm your girl Jazz.
And welcome back, beautiful people. All right, y'all, we are still in our Dwell Here series, and I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. If y'all ain't go back and check out the last episode, this episode might not make much sense to you because we building on each other. Okay,
Facts.
We are building. What's the right grammar?
We are. You're right. We are.
We are building as we keep up with this content. So we have been talking about allowing God to dwell in our hearts. And we posed a question in our last episode as to if we truly have a hard time allowing God to dwell in our minds because He's really not dwelling in our hearts. And if we need to do a hard stop and a hard left and shift our focus from, oh my gosh, God, dwell in my mind and transform my mind and give me this amazing mindset.
Exactly.
And we need to say, you know what? Actually, let's examine this heart here. And matter of fact, God, can you dwell in my heart? And matter of fact, God, I give you the fullness of my heart.
Yeah, like we talked about several episodes ago, we need a heart check.
Come on.
And we need to make sure that God has our full heart and not just pieces of our hearts, because it's no way. Like, if God is not dwelling in our hearts, He's not going to dwell in our minds. Like, it doesn't even logically make sense. Like, we're not going to. Yeah, it's just it don't make sense. So I said all that to say, He got to dwell in our heart. Like, it's a non-negotiable.
Okay, talk about it. It is a non-negotiable. Okay, my God, my God. God needs to dwell in our hearts. So I want to read you the scripture because it was just so good. And so we are going to read it again because we need to really talk about how, one, we might be afraid of allowing God to dwell in our hearts, but two, how some of us are really out here just hypocritical. Can I just jump right on in? It's how some of us are really out here hypocritical, and we say all of the right things with our mouths and with our lips, but our hearts, okay, I guess that's where we're going, but our hearts are far from Him, and we got Bible
to back it up.
Bible. And I've learned that this same thing is throughout the Bible multiple times, which is actually, I don't know why that one blew my mind, because Isaiah said it and Ezekiel said it. Here we
I didn't realize Ezekiel said it.
Yeah, this is Ezekiel. I'm like, we know it's on different. Okay.
Right, because you don't really hear nobody talking about Ezekiel. Like, it's my boy Ezekiel don't get no play.
He don't get no play except for prophesy to these dry bones.
Exactly, that's what we're saying. You know, and these dry bones live.
Right, and to the east, and the north, and the south wind, and command it to blow. And but nobody talks about how Ezekiel, like, y'all need to get y'all together.
Right, exactly.
Anyway,
talk about cherry picking.
Right. Okay. My voice went up. Bring it back down. But yes, we're talking about this idea between the connection between our heart and our words, and how oftentimes for some of us, they just don't connect. Our hearts are in one condition, yet our lips are saying something else. It goes like this. Ezekiel 33 and 31 in the King James Version, okay, says, "And they come unto thee as the people come, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear their words, and they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love." Here's the part. "But with their heart they go after their covetousness." Another translation says, with their heart is set on their own gain. Their heart seeks after money. So what he's saying here is that God is like, I hear what you're saying with your lips.
Right.
I hear you saying you love me. I hear you saying you surrender. I hear you saying, yes, Lord, yes. I hear you saying, God, you are my everything. I hear you saying, God, dwell here. I hear you saying, God, use me. I hear you saying X, Y, and Z. But You go after your own covetousness. You go after your own evil, selfish ambitions, even though you're saying, excuse me, all of the right things.
That's so good. And I wonder, like, is that why people may feel far from God? Because they're trying to love God with their mind, but not their hearts.
Oh, that's
like,
good.
God, you're worthy of me learning about you. You're worthy of me, reading scriptures and quote scriptures and putting them on Twitter, wherever, Instagram or whatever. But you're not worthy. This is, what they're probably saying. But you're not worthy of me giving you my whole heart. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I feel like a lot of people have it backwards. Like, no, like you'll never go deep in your relationship with God if you feel like he's worthy of your mind and not your heart.
Come on.
So, again, it's time for a heart check.
It's time for a heart check. And we need to get out of our own understanding.
That's good.
Because I'm curious as to if that could be another reason why we try to love God with our minds and not our hearts. Because we're just searching for understanding.
That's good. That's really good, actually. I can relate to that on the personal level. Just thinking back, like when I first got serious about my relationship with God, and I think I told you this before too. Like I was willing to give God my mind, but I didn't let Him in my whole heart in the beginning of our relationship. And what did you just say? Mm-hmm. I forgot.
Understanding.
Yeah. And it's because I told myself, well, I need to better understand God before I, I guess give Him my heart and let Him in. Let me, do some research. Let me learn more about God in the mind. Let me retain this information, but it wasn't getting to my heart because I felt like what was stopping me from taking the step of giving God my heart is because I was trying to, like you said, have an understanding of God before I guess allow Him into my whole heart. Hopefully that makes sense.
Mm-hmm, it does. I'm just curious as to what was not the therapy session, but what was underneath that? What was
fear?
Okay. Fear of what?
Fear for me, it was just fear of change. It was fear of
that's a good one.
Of unknown. It was the fear of accountability. Just fear. I would say fear is the umbrella, and like it was different things, different types of under that, but it was definitely fear. Looking back,
yeah. Oh, that's so good. We saw off script, but let's go.
I am weak
because let's break that down because that is so real because we often like to just throw out fear and it's just so broad. Right? Like we can be fearful of so many different things. Right? Especially in pertaining to allowing God to fully dwell in our hearts. So let's break each one of these down.
But before we do that though, I want to say you saw firsthand. You remember me on like studying and researching. That's what that was. Like giving God my mind, but not my heart. It's just crazy looking back on it.
Yeah.
I still do that, but now the difference is I allow God to, come into my heart and dwell in my heart instead of just dwelling in my mind. So it goes together. You can't have one without the other.
Definitely can't have one without the other. And I remember you asked me how you know God's real, and I gave you the most unhelpful answer ever. I was just like, I've experienced Him. I just experienced Him. Like I have. What's that scripture? Taste and see that the Lord is good. I have tasted. Okay, I want to run. And I have seen, LOL.
I didn't think he was going to say that. I don't know what I thought he was going to say.
LOL. LOL. I'll scream it. That the Lord is good. And so that is so real. So let's break that down. The first one that jumped out at me. Ooh, fear of change.
She having too much fun.
I am. This is a therapist in me let's explore. I'm curious. Human behavior. But we don't gotta get too deep into. But my point is, the fear of change, that is so real because as humans, like we really don't like change.
That's real.
Go ahead.
And I was gonna say the funny thing is that's the only thing that we can that's consistent in this world is change. One thing you can count on is change.
Something is going
in some area of your life.
Yeah, something is definitely going to change on my mind because I'm just curious as to if the fear of change can be connected to one, not wanting to leave my comfort zone, but two, connected to, how can I word that? two, connected to the uncertainty and not knowing if we can adapt in the change. I hope that makes sense. So one thing I notice with clients, and one thing I have to talk to them about, sometimes with anxiety, we want to control everything. Yeah, oftentimes, sometimes what I have to tell them is sometimes you have to trust your ability to adapt. You have to trust your skills, your ability, the tools in your toolbox. You have to trust that, you know what, I don't know what the heck is about to happen. Okay, it's all foreign. It is all unknown. It is very much so uncomfortable. Okay, but I have to trust my ability to adapt. And sometimes I just wonder, I'm curious as to if not trusting our ability to adapt has a connection or correlation between our fear of changing. That makes sense.
It does. And you said something that I was actually going to go into as well. I think we also have to be okay with not knowing. Be okay with the fear of the unknown. Where, like you were saying with your clients, you basically, in so many words, it sounds like what you were saying was like they feel like, and sometimes they need to have all the answers and have it all figured out before they can for them to feel comfortable. So yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing that could be a hindrance in a relationship with God. It's just not being okay with the fear of the unknown. And one thing with a relationship with God, you have to, because we walk by faith.
Literally.
Not by sight.
Literally.
So so it's you just basically have to be okay with not having all the answers, not having full control. And
yeah, very much so. That goes back to maybe we need to readjust our expectations. Maybe, just maybe, we have unrealistic expectations when it comes to our walk with God and to our relationship with God. That makes sense.
It does, but
that's you.
Yeah. What's an example?
Okay, unrealistic expectation. I'm not gonna have to get nothing up. I'm not gonna have to sacrifice. I'm going to be able to know all the things.
Yeah.
God, I won't do A until I know Z.
Wait a minute, not Z.
I play too much.
Right.
I play entirely too much. And so my point is, we now go into a relationship with God, or we're trying to go deeper with God, but our expectations are unrealistic. And so if we were to rewire, I guess is what I'll say, rewire our expectations and bring them back down some more realistic expectations, maybe that can help us better navigate the uncertainty and the change that comes. Because you know what? I expect to be uncomfortable. I expect to not know all the answers. I expect to have to walk by faith. I expect that there's just going to be some things that I just don't like. I expect it. So when it comes, it's not like, oh, it's here and I don't want this. And I expected that.
Yeah, and it keeps us grounded when the spiritual warfare comes. We have something to stand on because we entered with the right expectations, right? So I agree. I definitely think it could play a part in it for sure. Yeah.
It could play a part in it for sure. Oh, the unrealistic expectations?
Yeah, I was just saying because it keeps us grounded. Like, when we have realistic expectations, when we rewire, like you were saying, to have realistic expectations, it keeps us grounded. So when we face the spiritual warfare, when we are fighting for our faith, when we're whatever it is, we're now grounded, I feel like, in realistic expectations. So that way we're not, I guess, turning away from God or feeling distant from God because we rewired our expectations, like you said.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, I want to dive into another one. Are we good with that one? Are we good with that one? The fear of changing, the fear of change. We sometimes want the control. We don't want to. Leaving our comfort zone is uncomfortable. Learning to trust our ability to navigate and to manage the unknown. That whatever comes up, I am confident enough in God, but I am also confident enough in me and my abilities. I hope that makes sense. I don't really know another way to break that one down, so that when life comes, I can respond. I trust my problem solving skills. I trust my mindset. I trust that God will never leave me nor forsake me. I trust that he'll help me. He will empower me. So if he says go jump off this cliff, okay, I'm gonna go jump off.
He got a parachute somewhere.
Okay, listen. Or he got something on the ground and I ain't gonna feel it. Okay,
big trampoline or something down there.
It can help you. I'm screaming. Navigate the unknown and the uncertainty with change. But something you said else that was very interesting. I know we just all lost through it. I love it. Is you were talking. This is so real. It's so real. You were talking about the fear of accountability. Tell me more.
The fear of now you know better. You got to do better. And just realize. Yeah, just basically like now you know too much to turn back. Mm-hmm. Like it would be different if you didn't know what you know about God, about what he said, and now you know what I'm saying, you're just kind of walking around blind because you don't know. That's different. Mm-hmm. Like Jesus told the Pharisees, I don't want to mess it up, but basically he said something along the lines of basically you're guilty because you claim you can see. And it was like, are you calling us blind? And he was like, or something along the lines, and he was like, you're guilty because you're claiming that you can see, or something along the lines. We may have to pull it up, but yeah. So anyway, just basic accountability. Like once you are informed, you are accountable. So you can't act like you didn't know. And that was scary for me at that time, because it's just kind of like, man, but what if I still wanted to kind of dabble over here and then kind of try God out a little bit and see if I like him and
see if I like him. Let me date God.
Exactly. I don't even know why you playing. I was gonna put that on one of my talking points.
You should have.
But then I was like, they might take that the wrong way.
No, you should have.
I was screaming, but that's real though. This was my mindset. Like, when I first started walking with God, I'm like, okay, I know too much now. Like now, this is awkward. Like this is uncomfortable because now I can't dabble over here and then still kind of try God out. I got to make a decision. And it's like, I don't know if I fully want to choose God yet. This was what I was thinking back then. So it was a lot of pressure. It was a lot of like, it was just a lot. It was just very double-minded in that season of my life. I was very double-minded, and it's just yeah.
Yeah, no, that's real. Because while also hearing that, it's the fear of the lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, Jesus. So if I follow you for real, you know what I'm saying? Can we be honest? Like if I, jump all the way in, you know what I'm saying?
So you mean to tell me?
Hold up, sir. So for real?
Right.
Like,
I really can't. So I really gotta.
Right. So I can't punch people in the face.
Right. What you mean? Turn my other cheek. What?
Right. Cuss him out.
What you
Lord, he fine. What you mean? Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it? Like,
Right.
So, I know if I'm ready for my lifestyle change.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I can't fathom, here we go, I can't fathom a life with you that is fulfilling and fun.
That you hit it right on the head. That was like people hear. I feel like I ain't gonna say people. I ain't gonna group everybody together. But I feel like some people hear that and they don't realize that's really a thing. I struggled with that for a long time. Like, and of course we know it was the enemy. It was the enemy in my head, of course, telling me that you can't serve God and have fun at the same time. But at that time, it sounded true.
Okay,
and I believed
it felt true.
It felt true. And it was just very uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, so if I make a decision to serve God, then I gotta live this boring life. I gotta,
I'm gonna be a nun.
Yeah, right, I'm gonna be a nun. I gotta do all of this, and it's just like, do you know who you serve? Do you know who you're talking about?
Come on,
like you have to know God when it comes down to it. Because you would know that he's the God of joy.
Come on.
Like, joy is a fruit of the Spirit.
Come on.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, that was a thing at that time. And I totally forgot what you said that made me go down there. But yeah, whatever you said, right? Whatever you said, it resonated in my spirit, because that's something that I struggled with. Yeah. Oh, it was the
fulfilling and fun.
Yeah. So in my head, I couldn't fathom, I couldn't process the fact that the two could go together, and to live a fulfilling life, and also I don't even want to say fun, because joyful is what the Bible calls it. You know, joy, because it's a difference between joy and fun.
Listen.
Because the world is fun.
Listen.
But it's no joy. So in the world.
Anyway, another conversation. I was about to say, then you tell them that that it's fun, they ain't got no joy. What you mean? I got all the joy. It's like, do you?
They don't know the difference. Po tink tink.
Polo tink tink.
Oh, we.
Po lil tink tink. So yes, that is so good, and it is so real. We have to. I don't know what my dog is doing. He's just been everywhere in here, and
just having a good time. It's your world, my boy.
Right, we just living in it, sir. I have to go check and make sure. Okay, he knows. What was I saying?
We was talking about the world not knowing the difference between. But I think you went to something else. And
yeah, I was going somewhere. I was going somewhere else. Yes, here's where I was going. Oh, we have to acknowledge our fears and take them to God. But then guess what? We got a part to play.
Facts.
We have a part to play. So I'm going to ask you. I mean, I'm sure it's on here. I'm sure it's the same things. But what helped you to go from I'm indecisive, I'm in the middle, I'm terrified, to choose, oh my gosh, you know, I'm just gonna be boring, oh my gosh, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I mean, yeah. What helped you go from that to, let's just say, making the decision to dive in head first?
That's good. What made me go from that to making the decision easy?
What helped you? Go ahead.
What helped me is easily getting to know God better, and reading the Bible. It's gonna sound like I mean it sounds plain, but honestly, reading the Bible so that I can have a framework of who God is, so I can understand His character, how He thinks, what He expects, how He reacts to different things. So that helped me tremendously, and also not so much focusing on what I can't do, what I have to give up, what I think is going to be, but focusing on just loving God more. And also on the days when I feel like, God, I don't feel like I love you that much today, and being real with Him about it and asking Him to help me to love Him more. So that, I feel like that was a game changer for me. Not so much trying to focus on the loss, quote unquote, which is not a loss, hence the quotes, but more so focusing on the character of God, and just trying my best to keep my eyes on God and learn as much as I can about Him, while also willingly learning to let Him in and give Him my heart. So I feel like that definitely was the turning point.
Yeah, very well. You started doing things differently, and you got a different result.
How about that?
Won't he? Right, how about that?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? I promise you. Listen, sometimes you want to. There's this meme. I feel like only us therapists really relate to it. But it's this meme between a therapist and a person. And the therapist asks the person, "Do you want your life to be different?" And the person's like, "Yes." And then the therapist's like, "Well, you got to start doing some things differently. If you want a different life."
Already funny.
And he's like, "Huh."
I never thought of that.
It's just like
because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Exactly.
Like,
and so
who want to do that?
Right. Who got time? We ain't got time to waste. And some of us out here wasting time doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Some of us out here wasting time just asking God to change. God, I want you to change. God, I don't like this about your Bible. I don't like what you say about sexuality. I don't like what you say about homosexuality. I don't like what you say about giving. I don't like what you say about X, Y, and Z. Waiting on Him to change, and He ain't gonna change. So you either hop on board or just go about your life.
Yeah. That's real.
Because
if we're being honest, like our our natural man, it doesn't agree with everything in the Bible.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure everybody got something in the Bible that's kind of side-on, like, wait a minute, Jesus.
Why this here? Okay.
Right, like, I don't understand this, but the thing is, God didn't, he don't need our opinions. Like, he is authoritative because he is the creator. Okay. That's another thing that I feel like people have to understand. Like, in the beginning of the Bible, what was the very first thing that they told us about God? He is a creator. He created the heaven and the earth. So that automatically gives him authority. Okay. So we just gotta,
He decided this.
Right, exactly.
He decided this. Okay, and so we just need to get over ourselves. Right? The same way there's stuff at our job that we don't like. The same way growing up, there was stuff with your parents you don't. But guess what? You got over it.
Yeah, that's good.
So why? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why we just treat God so terribly?
Because we don't like being told what to do. Like, we don't like the fact that God is so authoritative. Our natural man don't like the fact that he's so authoritative that he can just tell us what to do and we can't question or drop our little opinion in the hat. And that's the kingdom of God. Like,
wait a minute, Jesus.
Actually,
I think people can like who they want.
Right, exactly.
And if they're okay with
right, then you should be too. I don't understand.
You don't gotta sleep with them. That's
right.
So maybe you should change your word.
God was like, thank you for your opinion, but like I was saying. You know what's crazy? Really quick, I was just gonna say what's crazy. Like, people get so mad when you just give them Bible. Like, they get so offended. Like, I'm like, I promise you, it's in yours too. If you read it, like, I didn't make this up.
Right.
I promise you. It's just, anyway, that's a whole nother.
What does Tiffany like to say? She'd be like, that's a demon. Right.
She quick to say somebody full of demons.
They full of demons. I'm screaming.
That's real though. Anyway, everything's spiritual.
Listen, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Everything is spiritual. But we just sometimes just be out here with our blinders on, and the enemy loves it.
Oh, he eats
it
up.
He loves the fact that we out here ignorant. He loves the fact that we just looking at things in the natural, and he's just behind the scenes, just going to town in your life. Just a little angry. I just got a little angry right there. Okay, so what's back to how do we get there? How do we get there? Yes, very, very much so. So I do want to give y'all really quickly some practical steps, okay? Because everybody looking around me. Some practical steps. Essentially, everything that she just talked about, that Jazz just talked about, as far as what helped her to go from, what helps all of us, right? To go from I'm curious, I'm lukewarm, I might be on the fence, right? To diving in head first, say, you know what, God, we out here. We out here. We all the way out here now. Ain't no way. Right. I would be an idiot.
Listen, in the middle of the sea, no lifeboat,
just a dum
right.
to turn back. Like, right.
Because what's back there?
Foolish. Nothing. Comfort. Can we talk?
That's good. That's good.
Can we talk about it? And some of y'all, okay, oh my God. And some of us are out here turning back because we want comfort.
Yeah.
When the uncomfortability is only for a little while. But we turn it into a death. I feel it. We turn it into a death sentence. Right. And one thing that we don't realize is that as we push outside of our comfort zone, that will eventually become our comfort zone.
Yeah, that's good.
So what you trying to turn back for? You just keep going, and eventually that part will be your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Then eventually you have another comfort zone. Then eventually, that's good.
And that's how you grow, and that's how your capacity deepens. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone.
That's how you kill fear.
Come on.
Yeah.
That part. Okay, I could go off on that one. I'm gonna leave it alone. So yes, what was I saying?
Oh, we was about to get into the practicals.
I was about to get into the practicals. I went on a rant. I'm sorry, y'all. I went on a rant. Just a little bit of a rant. I apologize, not really. So back to the practicality. We got to give y'all this really quickly because we are at our time. As far as how to overcome your fears, especially when it comes to allowing God to dwell fully in your heart. First and foremost, get in your word. Bible.
Just
read it.
listen.
Meditate on it. Look at it.
Sit with it. Dwell in it. Yeah. And also ask God to help you interpret it. Like, to understand it if you don't.
Yes. Yeah. And that goes into the second part, which is praying. We need to pray and ask God, help me, sir. I can't say it right.
Right. Because you can't say it. Sir.
Right. Sir. You know, we'll do the same version.
Right. Oh, me.
And that right there, why some people be like, see, I like it. I like my language before Christ. Okay, listen.
Baby. Come up with some words you ain't never heard of.
Oh, Jesus. Listen.
Right, sound like Twister in that thing.
I was a professional cusser. Professional.
Okay. Right.
Every other word. Can we
For
talk
free.
about it? Okay.
Right. Yeah, you's an athlete.
Listen, on that court. Listen.
I just think, when I think athletes, I think they all cuss.
Because we do.
I'm screaming.
We be letting it rip on that court, boy. I mean,
that's our language. That's a whole language.
Fact, like, it's our whole language so much that we make a good move, we get a bucket. Instead of saying good job, like any normal, natural person would do, we be extra. We be like, good.
My cheeks hurt from laughing so hard. I am screaming.
Like, why? Just say good job. Right. Just say good bucket. But we over here good.
I feel like you got to put that aggression somewhere. Like, you got to.
Like, what? Don't let us make a mistake. All right. This is focus. Listen. Oh, Jesus. Good times. So, yes. Get in your word. Read it. Dwell on it. Meditate in it. And then go into prayer and ask God to, I forget what you said, but ask God to allow you, to help you understand it. To help, ask the Holy Spirit, if you got him, no, I'm not being funny, for real. No. For real. And ask the Holy Spirit to help illuminate the pages, to help teach you, right? Pray. Ask God to help you surrender to him. Okay? Be honest. I'm going to add that in here. But be honest about your authentic feelings. God, I'm scared. Terrified. I ain't really ready yet because I'm scared of X, Y, and Z. I don't really trust you because X, Y, and Z. Let him in prayer. Okay, then we're going to shift our focus. Anything you want to say?
Just flowing.
Okay. Then we're going to shift our focus.
I mean, you read mine.
Oh, I didn't see that. Go ahead. My bad. And then you're going to shift our focus, right? We are going to focus on, you said that you had stopped focusing on the loss and you started to focus on loving God more. We have a very bad habit as humans of solely focusing on the unpleasant.
That's good.
There's so much pleasant going around. There's so much pleasant things that are happening. There's so much pleasant things in our future, but we are focused on that 1 or 2 or 3 things that's unpleasant, and we completely disregard the 10, 20, 15, 100 things, go ahead, that are pleasant.
We have to make God bigger than our inconveniences.
Come on.
And I mean, that's the root of it. Like, we have to, what's the word? Magnify, I think is the word, God, and just make him bigger than our problems.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a process. It's definitely a process, but it works.
Yes. Yes, it does, because we shift our focus, and so we're focusing on him, who can do all things, who has your best interest at heart. And so when I can shift my focus to that, then you know what? You got my best interest at heart. I know you got my back. You know what? This little thing, first of all, you can. And it could be gone. Right. You know what I'm saying? Okay, pick up the pace. Then we got to acknowledge, this goes back into when you were saying magnify God, it goes back into you said that I began to get to know God. Right? I began to get to know him. Know his personality.
Right.
Okay, learn what he says about me. I began to learn how he sees me because I got in my word.
Facts.
But then you focus on that. You acknowledge the fact that, you know what, God? I don't like you. But you, like, can we just be honest? Okay, I don't like you right now. okay, I don't like this situation that I'm going through right now. I don't like what I got to give up.
Right.
But you good.
I was about to say, but I know that you're good.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I just meditating on what it means for God to be good. The one thing that stands out to me, if you're good, okay, then obviously you can't sin. So if you can't sin, that means you can't sin against me. You can't lie to me. You can't have like basically any ill intentions from towards me. So anything you do for me is always for my good and for your glory. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something also that we need to magnify as well.
Yes. Y'all better pull up Jeremiah 29 and 11. I know thoughts that I have for you. I don't remember. It's somewhere in Jeremiah.
29:11.
Oh, I bet. See, look at me. Plans to prosper me, plans for good and not evil. Like, we need to pull up scripture and meditate on that. And lastly, we already hit on this. We need to set realistic expectations. We need to expect to be uncomfortable. We need to expect to have to sacrifice. We need to expect to not like God sometimes. We need to. You don't always like your spouse, your boo thing, your friend. Come on.
Exactly. Be honest. Be honest, Shane the devil.
Okay.
Don't lie, Shane the devil.
They be like, tell the truth, Shane the devil. That thing be taking me out. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Okay. So God is the same way, and He know it.
And the thing is, He already know it. Like, because He know everything. He know how you feel about it.
Exactly. So set realistic expectations. Go ahead. Anything you want to say? So
actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just going to build on that and just say, and also understand that it's a continuous process, and we should allow ourselves grace in the process, but also holding ourselves accountable as well. Holding ourselves accountable for doing these things, taking these practical steps that we're talking about.
So let's break that down real quick. I know we over. What exactly that looks like? Allowing ourselves grace, but also holding ourselves accountable.
Allowing ourselves grace while holding ourselves accountable. I would say, I gotta think about it. I guess, like I said, understanding that it's a process. Like, don't beat yourself up like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing everything that they're saying right now. Like, it's not happening for me right now. But also don't stay there. Don't stay in that place where it's okay that you're not seeing fruit. You're not making progress. That's holding yourself accountable. Like, okay, I understand that it's a process. It's not going to happen in one day, but I also understand that I have I have a part to play, and I have to take the first step, and I have to continuously progress towards doing these practical things.
Yes, very much. I agree. I asked because some folks will be like, oh, we love to be heavy on the grace.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like,
we love to grace. Be heavy on the grace. But you said something very powerful, as in not beating yourself up. That's actually where I was headed. And not beating yourself up for the fact that we're not perfect. Right? The fact that we're not going to get it right all the time. The fact that sometimes we don't know what we don't know. Right? And beating ourselves up for it only makes us feel worse. It has no productive...
That's real.
No productive...
Purpose.
Thank you. Purpose. Except to make us feel worse. But we do also got to hold ourselves accountable. So if I know He fine...
Facts.
And I know He just know the right things to say... He just smells so good. Can we talk about it? Maybe. Just maybe. I'm going to hold myself accountable. Bro, I'm not coming over, bro.
Exactly.
And you're not coming over here, my G. Let's go.
That's real. In public.
Listen, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like, whatever it is. Right? I don't know why I always go there. Because that's relatable. But we have the power over that.
Thanks.
We cannot put ourselves in certain situations where now we just extra tempted. Now we don't fail.
And now God is grace. God extends grace, so I'm good. He's gonna forgive me. And while that is true, it's a toxic cycle to being not holding ourselves accountable and not guarding our heart, because that's what it is just avoiding those situations that we shouldn't even be in the first place. We add an extra temptation.
Okay.
That even shouldn't be.
We can help ourselves. Thanks. Okay. So yes, we way over time, and so we're done. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What's the summary? So yes, what did we talk about?
Everything.
Take God your fear. Got it. I guess that's where we end. Take God. If you are afraid, to allow God full access to your heart. 1, we've all been there. 2, it's normal. 3, okay, now you gotta do something about it. Thanks. Now it's on you to take that to God. He already knows. Be real with him. Be honest with him. And then obey what he tells you to do. Okay.
That part.
Well, come on. Well, I need you to get in your word 15 minutes a day. Well, I need you to.
Now you're asking for too much. Like, come on. we can't go down that route.
Okay.
Gotta hold ourselves accountable.
Cause you the one who went to him.
Exactly.
Okay, anyway. So yes, that's all we're saying. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If any of you guys are feeling stuck, stagnant in your relationship with God, you need to jumpstart your faith. You are really wanting to dive deeper into God, to feel his presence, and to allow him to dwell with you on the inside of you, in your house, in your car, on your job. Click the link down in the description. We have a free guide for you. It's called The 5 Ways to Deepen Your Relationship with God. Click the link down below and get your free copy. That's it. That's all. Go be great. And we out.
Keep you out.